Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining this weekly practice session as well as discussion on one specific topic. Today, we are going to talk about stress. Today, we are going to talk about to know more about stress. Today, we are going to talk about more how to manage our stress in our day-to-day life. The whole agenda for the next roughly around 1.5 hours would be in such a way. First, I will be going through about just interacting with all of you to understand what is the meaning of stress, what is the cause of stress, what is the symptom of stress, and if at all we can manage stress, what are the different ways to manage stress, and how meditation can help you to its best to manage not just your stress, rather many more other things as well. Once again, good morning to all of you. My name is Subhash, and I will be taking this whole session throughout the 1 hour roughly. And then thereafter, we will have a little bit of question and answer. In between this whole session, we will be practicing Vihangam meditation as well for 15 minutes around. So just for the viewers who are currently joining us on Facebook online, there would be a little bit of inconvenience to you. I would like to emphasize that at the beginning itself, when we would start the meditation practice, we would stop the streaming online because we would do the meditation practice only with those people who have joined us on Zoom. If you want to join us on Zoom, please feel free to join us. There is no charge, no fees, etc. Right now on the screen, you can see the Zoom ID 383-310-813. You can straight away join the Zoom meeting to learn the meditation if you want to. On Facebook, after roughly around 45 minutes, we would be stopping the streaming for 15 minutes, and then we would resume again on Facebook Live. Thank you for joining with us. So we are talking about stress and stress management. I think those who have been working, those who have not been working, everyone in this world probably have heard this word stress. But the point comes, do we know the reality of this stress? Do we know how does this originate? And if at all it comes in our life, how do we manage it? That is the point of discussion today. And everything cannot be discussed. It will be roughly around 1 hour. So please bear with me. If you have any question at any one time, you can type it in the chat box or on the YouTube message as well. Before I start, I was thinking to have a quick video just to include everyone, just to involve everyone in a right manner. So on my next slide, I have downloaded one video from Singapore itself, which is from prescribed by the Health Ministry of Singapore. Let's go through about that video, just roughly around, I think, 3 minutes. It will let us know and understand one specific type of stress that comes from the job. So whichever type of job we are doing doesn't matter, but how and what exactly the stress comes to us and what should be the remedy that has been mentioned in that video. Let us go through about that video and then we would resume thereafter quickly. I'm sorry, it seems the sound is not going appropriately. Okay. Okay. In fact, even if the sound doesn't go, I would still like to run the video, just go through about it to whatever extent we can. Just some readings are also there, so probably it will help us to understand what exactly it says. It talks about the pressure and demand inside the office work. Probably you can understand from the video itself and the expression what it says. Stress is definitely unavoidable, and but still we can manage it. Just don't forget that the lady behind sitting this person has given a very different kind of smile to this guy that itself can make a small reason for his stress. It talks about physical stress, mental stress, and how drastic it can be. It's talking about. So it says that to manage stress, we need to be aware, we need to analyze it, and we have to apply something. One of the important factor, what symptoms it says, that if you are in a stressful situation, you are stressed, then the first thing what you do is you would less socialize in your day-to-day life. And what are the different causes of our life? That's what it mentions here. A very simple stress could be if you are in a traffic jam, that can give you a very simple but still quite severe stress to you, depending on where exactly you are going to someone or not. One of the remedy it says is talk to someone, maybe your colleague, your wife, your friend, or whoever it could be. Second thing it says, prioritize your work. And then focus one thing at one time, and then give some relaxation time to yourself, give some breathing exercise, and change your perspective of the things, how you see things in front of you. And it says, most importantly, let's have a healthy life in our day-to-day life, regular exercise, and efficiency in our day-to-day work. Thank you very much for just watching this one. I'm really sorry that the sound was not that much audible. Now let's move to the next section. We are talking about the stress, and just in the video, even if you could have seen something, you could have seen something. Stress is a day-to-day life for us, even those who are especially living in Singapore, living in Malaysia, living in any other country. We cannot be stress-free all the time, provided we are not doing anything. It's not that we cannot be stress-free. We can, but the point comes how. So stress is completely a situation which gives you a tension. Tension can be in your body, tension can be mental, or tension can be just outside what you see on that basis also. So first, what we need to do is we need to understand what the stress is. Many times what has been seen that people don't realize that they are stressed. They don't realize. So as you might have understood from the video, that first we need to be aware about the stress. We need to be aware. Are we eligible enough to understand it? Are we looking through it the way we have to look at it? Are we aware about it? Are we knowledgeable about it? That's one of the biggest question comes to us. Many times we realize stress when it has already traveled to certain extent, and sometimes it becomes quite late. And believe me, once the stress is hitting you on a regular and continuous basis, if the time continues passing through, it can convert into depression, and depression is a slow killer. So we must know and understand what is stress. It is unavoidable consequences of the life. At different stages of our life, at different point of our day-to-day life, we have different stressful situation. A very simple example could be, suppose I'm having a meeting at one time. Or let's take example like this. I have a session right now at 10:30 Singapore time for 1.5 hours. And very important, and I am the presenter. Okay. And that is pre-decided, fixed, everybody knows. And suddenly something happens to my wife. Suppose she fell down or some urgency is required. What will happen to me in that situation? I am required to be here in this forum, on this forum, and suddenly I am required to be somewhere else as well. What will happen to me? Both of these things are very urgent for me. Would I be stressed? Yes. And that's the point, that when the situation, when the circumstances changes unexpectedly or even expected, we go into a stressful situation. And that's why stress is our day-to-day life partner. Probably it is right now, those who are working in the offices, they are having a bigger partner than the spouse. Probably we are living with the stress. Probably yes. So what is stress in a different way? Stress can be in front of us, like it can be real. You face a situation outside, you feel, you get it, and then your body react on that basis, and then you are stressed on that. That can be one of the situations for all of us. It can be real. But there is another type of stress also, which we just perceive. Means in reality, it may not exist. In reality, it may not exist. It is just the generation of our thinking. It is just our perception. It is just the perceived threat which we believe to exist, but in reality, it may not exist. And in my opinion, when we talk about the stress, the second type of a stress constitute roughly around 80% of the cause of our stress. Outside what is happening is just 20% becoming the cause, the real cause of our stress. 80% of our stress is perceived threat, which we realize inside the mind, which may not be completely true. It's just a perception. What's the cause of a stress? We need to understand the cause of a stress in front of us. What are the reasons? How do we get stressed? What happens around us because of which these stresses come to our life? The answer is very simple. Very simple answer we have. There is only one reason for all types of stresses, and that reason is change in our life. Whenever some changes happen, in our life, the cause of a stress can begin, can start. If there is no change, whichever way we are, definitely we would not be stressed at all. Any single change may cause the stress. The dependency is how we look through, how we perceive it, how we imbibe it, how we realize on it. That is more important to define the severity of the stress and the continuity of that stress. So on that basis, stress can be major, stress can be minor as well. The major stress which can make you change in your life on a majority basis, or probably which you probably cannot avoid depending on the situation you have, is mostly, if you see, when you are changing the stages of the life from childhood to young, then adulthood, then parenting, and then doing job, and then knocking the next stage of life, which is the retirement, aging, and all those kind of things. These are major cause of stress. Why? Because our changes are happening based on the change in our age. Say, for example, today I am working and suddenly I have to retire. That may become a cause of stress to me. Thinking just, oh, what will I do? What will I do once I retire? Am I able to sustain for this whole 24-hour what I do? Do I need to change my friend circle? Do I need to earn some more? What should be my routine? Just thinking can create a cause to me. Whereas on the other side, for the minor type of stresses could be very different, which are actually our day-to-day activity related stress. Say, for example, friendship, or if you get a small injury, or any social reason. Social reason could be, oh, I had to go to this party and I cannot go because my dress is not appropriate. That can give a stress to me, isn't it? One example. This kind of example could be very easily suitable for ladies, where they have to be very well dressed when they're going to a party, and they are not able to have as appropriate as they want to look because of one or another reason. That can give us to that lady, isn't it? Some difficulties in relationship can cause stress. What we are expecting, wherever, if that expectation is not fulfilled, then that expectation not being fulfilled can cause stress to my life. Whatever, wherever we see, it's all about changes and how we accept that change based on situation around us, based on my own capability. Stress comes on that basis. But the reality is, many a time we don't see stress coming. We don't. And slowly it can be stacked on one to another and can become a big problem for us. And biologically, medically, psychologically, it can impact us very differently, very, very differently. So, in my opinion, we should not take stress lightly. But to do that, we need to know, we need to understand what is a stress and what is the cause of a stress. So, for that reason, we need to be aware. We need to be aware what is happening with me. What things can happen with me? Number one, physical. Has there been any change in my physical activity? I need to observe. Every time I cannot go to the doctor to understand, oh, something has happened to me or not. Probably not. We cannot. But we ourselves can understand how my body is reacting. Is there any stress? Maybe my heart rate is changing. Maybe I have a pain somewhere. Maybe I have a headache. Sorry, maybe indigestion, or is there any muscular span or something like that? That I need to identify because it's my body. And believe me, all these symptoms are reasons or signs for the stress. The body is giving signal to you. Think about it. Find it, why it is happening. There is some kind of a stress going on with your body. Another type could be emotional. Body is fine. There is no problem at all anywhere. Heart rate is fine. Blood pressure is fine. Blood circulation going well. No headache. Nothing is there. I'm relaxed also. But my emotion is changing. I'm anxious. Even if you are anxious, your heart rate still may remain the same. It is possible. Your blood pressure still may remain the same unless and until that anxiety takes a specific form. At the beginning time, when the anxiety starts, still your blood pressure, your heart rate will still remain the same. But after some time, you will come to know through your heart rate, through your blood pressure, that you are anxious. But if you look at your emotion, you will very easily understand whether you are anxious at one time or not. Similarly, there are other emotional activities which you only will come to know whether it is happening with you or not. Fear, impatience, a little bit of depression because of something else, or fluctuating your mood, instability of concentration. All these are the signs of stress. This instability of focus or concentration is very well applicable for students, for those who are doing lots of studies at one time or another, or even for the people who are doing office work. It can be one of the great reason or sign for their stress. And the third type is your behavior. Whether there is change in your behavior because of one or another thing or not. How your routine is being fluctuating, how your exercise routine is changing, how your social networking is changing, how your behavior is changing. If at all anything is happening, then that is the sign for your stress. Thinking all these, probably if you try to see the reasons around you, if you see 124 hours in a day, you will realize that we are hit by so many times by this stress, so many times. Probably we would have never realized the way it had to be, because there are small stress, there are big stress. If some stresses come and go automatically because we are capable enough to handle it on its own on the basis of how we lead our life, but some stress may still remain with us. But that we need to identify. We need not go to doctor to identify the stress. It's all about being aware. But all stresses are not negative. Say, for example, in an office, your boss or your HR, human resources team, or your department can give you a little bit of stress to motivate you, to encourage you to do a little bit more effort to achieve something. So that type of a stress is not negative. But if we are using a stress to motivate someone, it must be realistic. And this word realistic is sometimes hypothetical, sometimes intangible, and we may do mistake in realizing, identifying, measuring this realistic word at many times. And that's why it has been seen that in the school, in the colleges, teachers, the people who create the syllabus and principal and all those who are creating all the future of the students, it may be possible that some students may not take those stress in a positive way. Objective is not to put negative impression. Objective is not to put negative stress on them. Objective is to motivate, to learn, to fight. But how realistic it is, that would change student to student, the background of the student, the family background, the nature of the person itself, his hobby, and there are a lot many things included in this. So how realistic the artificial stresses are, it completely depends on that, whether it is a positive stress being generated or a negative stress. But whatever it is, we must need to learn how to manage stress. We cannot neglect, we cannot have a desire that I should not have any stress in my life on any single day. That is not possible. We have to meet stress all the time. Oh, we need to learn how to manage it. To manage it, we need to be aware about it. We need to analyze it. And we need to implement few things in the form of effort to de-stress ourselves, or in fact to reach to a situation, reach to a stage, so that even if the stress comes to me, it doesn't hit me the way it hits others. I should have a shield to protect me from all these stresses of our day-to-day life. So, in the profession of risk management, stress can be considered as a stress. Stress can be considered as a risk. If you have to manage risk, there are certain methods prescribed by the intelligent people. Someone says that, okay, you should avoid the risk. That means if something is coming to you, you know already, you should do something that you avoid it. Simple example, you know that when you are talking to your wife at one time, and you know that the topic is about ladies, say for example, just on a lighter side, then probably if you continuously insist for something, there is a possibility, I'm just talking about possibility, there is a possibility that that discussion doesn't go anywhere, and it will simply create a stress between the two. The simple activity to perform at that stage is to avoid that situation. There is no point to have discussion on that once you realize it. So that is one example. Avoid it, stop it, no discussion, thank you, enough, that's it. That is one way. Another way is accept the risk. Accept whichever it comes, prepare yourself and accept it, and do whatever you have to do thereafter. Third one could be you adapt it. That adaptation comes with when it sustains for a longer time. For some time you may avoid it, but still it may come to you. You may accept it, but still it may sustain, then adapt it. It becomes a part of your life. Or you can alter it. Is there any way that whichever way the stress is coming to you, you can just transform it in a different way? Is it possible? Yes, it may be. Or share it with someone, or transfer it to someone also. This is not a very good example for people, that your stress, you transferred it to someone else. Sometimes the bosses do this, but this transferring the stress, transferring the risk is example of financial institutions actually. But still, you can reduce it. At least you can reduce it with the help of talking to someone, sharing it, avoiding it, accepting it, reducing it, and all those things. So this is the risk management system tells us that if you have any risk, so I'm considering stress as a risk to me, then I need to manage it. These are the 6-7 ways to manage my risk: avoid, accept, adapt, reduce, alter, transfer, and share. Now I need to think out, okay, when the stress is in front of me, I see stress is coming, which one I should do? Does it mean that I have to prepare my chart and I need to prepare a matrix? Here are my stresses, here are my risk management methodology. Okay, which one I should do? Which one? Tick this, and then manage on that basis? Probably it will be very difficult for any one of us. Very difficult, because in our day-to-day life, we don't note down, where is my stress? Where is my stress? Where is my stress? A dog is barking on me, that can be create a stress, that may create a stress. Am I going to note down it and write down what I need to do? Probably some people can do. But the choice is yours. How you want to do it? Completely on you. But the first important thing is to be aware. Once we are aware about the stress, then only this situation comes, the management, the analysis to identify what type of stress it is. And then we have to put our effort to apply something to overcome those stresses. So from here onwards, when we are moving, we are more talking about how to manage that stress. There are not many methods. Even if you go to, say, internet, you go to Google and type and check, okay, how should I manage my stress? How should I become stress-free? Most of the places you will see the repetitive words, you will see the repetitive ideas. There are not many because it's very much internal thing, very, very internal. And it comes, the risk management, stress management, you can become more and more robust when you are able to practice it more in your day-to-day life. So either you become the expert, in all these risk management ideas, which may be very difficult for someone, or let us move to the next slide to give you a much more better way to manage the stress from our day-to-day life. What does it say? What are the different ways to manage the risk? The very first thing is, if you remember, the signs of the stress and the symptoms and where it impacts, first thing is the physical thing, then emotional, and then it comes in our behavior. So we have to keep our body fit and fine. For that reason, we need to do some exercise, do some stretches, do some yoga. Based on your age, based on your acceptance of the body, you should understand to what extent you have to do it. Just for simple example, nowadays, if suppose I have a back pain, severe back pain, when I did not have the back pain, I was able to do difficult yoga postures also. Right now, I cannot because of that severity. So I have to see myself where the pain is, how, to what extent I have to perform that exercise or yoga. That's me who would have to identify it. But we need to include some part of exercise and yoga to keep our body fit and fine. Doesn't matter at what age we are. We have to eat healthy food because the way we eat things, our mind behaves on that basis. So if our eating is healthy, our mind will become more and more healthy. And that's how the stress will be reduced because of that. What next? We have another different ways. Ask for help. Similarly, manage your time. Similarly, have a deep breathing whenever you have the stress. At the same time, you should have an adequate sleep, because if you don't have adequate sleep, then your body may give you a signal for the stress. The whole body can be stressful. What else? We should have a positive thinking. You remember when we were defining the stress, it has two types. One was it can occur in real, or it can be just a perceived threat. If you think positive, most likely the perceived threat will come with a positive solution also. So in that case, the positive thinking will help you to de-stress yourself at the same time. Another one is your social activity. Don't over socialize. That itself can become a stress for you. But you should have an adequate social activity, especially in nowadays where in the COVID time, most of us are being mostly at home. Either we are engaged with our family members, or maybe TV, radio, or Netflix, but those can further give you stress. So we should have a little bit of socializing. Socializing doesn't mean that we always have to be on Facebook, we always have to be on WhatsApp. No, socializing doesn't mean you talk on video. Chatting is not enough. Have a video call. Video call is much more efficient and much more effective, where we see the expressions of the people in front of us, where we can show our expression also. That can give a really different kind of solution for all of our stresses. You might have seen that when you talk to someone face to face, when you are stressed, your stress may be minimized very quickly. And there is one more very interesting method to manage your stress, is laughter therapy. If you are able to laugh, I mean, I'm sure everyone is able to laugh, but laughing when the laugh comes is one thing. But laughter therapy says that laughing when the laugh comes is one thing, but laughing when the laugh doesn't come is another thing. What it means, that laughing should have been utilized and practiced on a regular basis, routinely, without any reason. When we laugh, there are lots of different kinds of activity happens above the neck, and that channelizes our mind, that impacts our mind, that impacts our heart, that impacts our lungs also, that impacts our breathing also. To learn the laughter therapy to a certain extent and implement it in your, if possible, day-to-day life, especially for those people who don't laugh that frequently, people like me. Just joking. Laughter therapy is a good way to manage your stress, but it needs to be practiced on a regular basis, not just when the stress comes, then you start laughing like like that. It will help you to a certain extent, but it should be practiced when you are not in a stressful situation. And there is one more item, which of course everyone knows we are going to discuss about, is the meditation. Meditation, if you remember, one of the signs for stress is emotional, where anxiety, fear, fluctuation of mood, and all those kind of things are there. These are intangible ways to express. How do we manage these? We must learn, because ultimately we are not just body, right? We are more than body. We are more than body. Body is managed by something, and that is probably the mind, the intellect, and the soul itself. It is being managed by it. Are we doing something for that? Just exercise is not enough. Just eating healthy food may not be enough. Just sleeping adequately may not be enough. Just time management may not be enough. Just laughing may not be enough. Just having deep breathing may not be enough. Having social life may not be fully enough. Thinking completely positive may not be positive. But believe me, my dear friends, from my own experience, I am telling you, meditation, inclusion of meditation in your day-to-day life just for 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes in the evening can bring all of these things in your life very easily at the same time. Even including eating healthy food can also be brought through meditation. Why? Because everything ultimately is linked with our mind one way or another, whatever we are talking in the outside. So prevention is better than cure. Prevention is better than cure. Cure can happen once something has already happened, then we are going to cure it. But prevention is we are not allowing something to happen, and meditation does that. Meditation prevents to occur stress. Other methodologies probably may help you, especially when you are in the stressful situation. But meditation, in proportion wise, percentage wise, allows you to prevent to have the stress. That's why we, most of the time, stress on everyone to meditate as frequently as possible. So, what does meditation do? Meditation helps you to deal with your stress on a day-to-day life. And what it does, it will correct it. It will correct it permanently because it hits to the root of the stress. But how? That's the point we are going to discuss. That's the point we are going to practice today. So just quickly, few more things. What is stress? What we have discussed is stress is realized first at the mind level. Even if something happens in the body, your body will not realize anything on its own if mind is not connected to it. If a scratch happens on the body and the mind is somewhere else, the scratch will be realized only when the mind realizes it first. So the realization happens first at the mind step. And once the mind realizes it, then we have the point whether we have to accept it or we don't have to accept that challenge. So when the stress comes, the knowing, the awareness, the realization happens first at the mind level. And here we have to be a little bit intelligent, whether we have to accept it or we don't have to accept that challenge. That's the main point, to realize the stress, to be aware about the stress. So mind is nothing but it's an operating system which controls the body, the sense organs, the memory, the intellect, and everything, whatever we do, everything. And it generates the power from the soul. So what does this mean? Mind enables us to do what? It will enable us to be aware about our upcoming stress. So it will give a signal. You will have the signal. It will allow you to handle the stress in a much more better way, even if it comes. And it will let you stay strong to fight with that stress. What next? Not just that, it will minimize the intensity of the stress also. What we are talking about? We are talking about a controlled mind. We are talking about the controlled mind. If you will have a controlled mind, the awareness of the stress, handling it well, fighting with it, staying strong, minimizing it, and remaining stress-free becomes a natural nature of that person. That means we must control the mind to control the stress completely. Because mind is the root cause of all of our problems, including the stress. And that's why we need to be aware about our mind. We need to analyze our mind and we need to apply the effort to control the mind. Don't control the stress. Don't learn to manage the risk in one way or another. If you learn how to manage your mind, if you learn how to control your mind, your most of the difficulties, all of your problems will be eradicated, or at least it will be minimized to its maximum level. And that's why we always prescribe, we always suggest, we always have been practicing on our own as well to meditate to control the mind. And Vihangam meditation puts its footprint here to everyone, every practitioner, to control the mind, the emotions, the sense organs, and to correct the basis to remain stress-free in our day-to-day life. That's the one of the objective, not the only objective. One of the objective of practicing Vihangam meditation in our day-to-day life. Now, it's time to meditate. Learn how to meditate. Those who are familiar with the meditation, no worry, absolutely fine. You are doing the right thing in your day-to-day life. But now, let's learn, let's practice. If you know already, then let us practice the first stage of Vihangam meditation, how to perform it. And why Vihangam meditation? Knowing that is very important, very, very important. Why not any other meditation? Definitely every type of meditation helps us in one way or another. But why? What's the uniqueness of Vihangam meditation? That we need to learn, that we need to know. So today, we are going to discuss in next 15 minutes with the practice of the first stage of Vihangam meditation and knowing a little bit more about why we practice it in this way. So for those who are watching us, who are connected with us on Facebook, we apologize here because now we are going to meditate. And because of that reason, we have to stop the Facebook streaming because it's a specific thing which has to be learned in a very specific way. So we cannot do that just on Facebook openly for everyone. But if any one of you still wants to join us to learn meditation, you can right now connect with us on Zoom, where the ID is reflected on the screen as well. So now we are going to practice Vihangam meditation, the first stage of Vihangam meditation. And I would like to request to please stop the streaming on Facebook. We would resume after 10 to 15 minutes to have it completely in control. First, of course, it starts from the outside and then it goes more inside to control it. So there are certain different types of benefits of this first stage of Vihangam meditation as far as controlling the stress is concerned. There are some immediate impact, there are some long-term impact. What is the immediate impact? It will allow us to be aware about this stress. Why? Because we are able to channelize our mind more appropriately, more adequately, and we would have the control on the minds. Don't forget, when we say stress, stress means first it has to be realized at the state of mind. If the mind doesn't realize it the way it has to realize it, the way it has to make you aware, it will be very difficult to manage it. So Vihangam meditation helps us to become more and more aware about the stress. And also it allows you to take the right decision at the right time whenever you see coming a stress in front of you, and at the right time, in fact. And hence we can minimize the stress to the larger extent if we practice meditation on a regular basis. And what is the long-term impact of meditation on stress? It will correct our basis. The basis through which the stress appears, that basis itself will be corrected. And once that basis will be corrected, there will be very, very less likely that even if the stress comes in front of us, it will not appear the way it has to appear. Say a very simple example. If I am in a very stressful situation and immediate action has to be taken, if my basis is not corrected, probably at that stressful situation, I can take a wrong decision at one time. I can take, right? But if my basis would be corrected to take the decision appropriately, then even in a hurry, if I have a stressful situation, I can take a right decision appropriately, exactly at the right time. That helps the meditation. And it will empower us to have a super willpower. We all have willpower. Some has nice willpower, some has good willpower, some has a strong willpower. But what about super willpower? Super willpower, one example you can see in the soldiers, especially those soldiers who go through difficult situations, those who had to cut their hand, who had to cut their leg during the fighting time, during the wartime itself. It's not the doctor has cut it. One fine example you can see, if you remember, there was a fighter whose example we give very, very frequently is Veer Kunwar Singh, who was from Bihar during the fight with British men. He was having a hit in his right hand. The bullet hit in his right hand. Do you know what he did? He cut his hand by his own sword. By his own sword. And he was not as young as me. He was having a age of around 50, more than 50 years. And he cut his right hand from the shoulder by his own sword. If a doctor cuts your leg, it's a different thing. He will give you injection for the pain relieving or other kind of thing which will not disturb you, and then he will cut your leg. What he did, as soon as he was hit by the bullet on his hand, he cut his hand by his own sword. Can you think about the stress to take the right decision at that time point? How many of us would be able to do such kind of decision at one time? How? So that can be generated with a super strong willpower. And if we don't have, meditation can help us to have that kind of super willpower. And it would, in a long run, not just short term, I'm talking about, in a long run, it will keep you stress free. Stress will come to you, but it will not be with you. You will be completely stress free if you practice Vihangam meditation for longer time point. We have been talking about the awareness, alertness. There has been some testing done on Vihangam meditation using 192 electrodes on a practitioner, not just one, multiple practitioner, to check what is the impact of Vihangam meditation on that person's waves, the mental waves. There are alpha waves, delta waves, gamma waves, which signifies different thing at different time with different intensity. So alpha waves are the waves which are responsible for alertness, and relaxation also, which is for delta waves. So it has been observed during the practice session, during the practice activity itself, that these waves have been impacted significantly in a positive way. because of meditation itself. So it's not just hypothetically we are talking about scientifically also, which can be measured and had been identified and tried and tested in a right way. Not just the stress, we have lots of different types of problems in our life, and we need correction, we need different kinds of remedies for all of our problems. So Vihangam meditation has not just one type of relieving thing. We can be benefited out of it in lot many different kind of things. You should try it out. Learn how to meditate on a regular basis, which will control your mind definitely, but at the same time, because of that or otherwise, lots of other things will also come to you in a positive way, be it inner happiness or satisfied life, improved performance, mental rest, balance your emotion, bringing more and more confidence inside you. Even your eyesight it will be improved also. Your blood pressure, your stress will definitely be lowered down. You will be more energetic. Your sleep will be better and better day by day. As I mentioned at one time, Vihangam meditation, Sadhguru Sadafal Devji Maharaj, in terms of practice, created 5 different types of stages. The first stage, which we just practiced, we just learned, was to control the mind from the outer sphere, which helps us to enhance our memory, to eradicate the stress, depression, and all those kind of things. Further beyond that, we have to go towards the second, third, fourth, and fifth stage. Till first 3 stages, the Vihangam meditation fights to find the solution for the mind, to control it from outside, control it from inside, and purify it, and awakening the Kundalini as well. And once those things will happen, then the self-realization will happen. That means we meet ourselves. Right now, we don't meet ourselves. We meet our mind. We meet our intellect only. We don't meet ourselves. In the fourth stage of Vihangam meditation, when we start, we meet ourselves, the soul. And from there onward, we move more towards the Supreme Soul, the God realization, the realization of the ultimate truth. So this is all about today on the basis of time, the stress management, and how Vihangam meditation can help us. We live in a stress-free zone. Those who meditate, believe me, they live in a stress-free zone. The stress will come, it will hit, but how it is going to impact you, it completely depends on your own solution. It completely depends on your own shield being prepared. And meditation helps us, just like as laughter therapy, just like as exercise, yoga, just like as eating healthy food, just like as having an adequate sleep, all these kind of things. Meditation brings you to a zone of stress free. Completely depends on you, how much you want to practice it, how much you want to continue it. If you have difficulty, please join us. We are practicing on a daily basis in the morning and in the evening. Weekdays, we practice morning 6 a.m. for 30 minutes and evening every day, 8 p.m. Singapore time, 30 minutes, which includes some breathing exercises and then meditation. And on weekend, in the morning, we do it at 8 a.m. Singapore time and evening 8 p.m. Singapore time. Please do join us. The link of Zoom remains all the time same, 383-310-813. This is for the benefit of every individual. We don't charge anything. It's all free of charge. Probably you don't understand, you don't realize that if you are doing things free, how beneficial it is. But believe me, those who have been joining us, those who have been practicing with us, they are the real beneficiaries. Here, based on the interest of our time, I'd like to stop, but just the last statement, few of the statements. Stress is a part of our day-to-day life. We cannot avoid stress being a part of our life, but we can manage it. Prevention is better than cure, and meditation is the best way to prevent it to come to us. Or even if you have a stressful life, meditation is the best cure for it as well. Join us to be in the stress-free zone. Thank you very much for joining us today. Now we would open towards the question and an answer session. If there is any question from any one of you, please feel free to raise your question. You can probably unmute yourself if possible. I'll wait for a few seconds. If there is any question, then fine. Otherwise, after 30 seconds, I'm going to invite some of our practitioners to just share some of their thoughts on their stress-free management system. Any question, please? Okay, so since there is no question to us, that's absolutely fine. So I'd like to invite one of our practitioners here who has been associated with Vihangam meditation since quite a long time, and he has been practicing the meditation rigorously on a regular basis. And recently, according to his statements, he has observed quite a stressful situation during his job time recently because of COVID, and otherwise because he is doing his job as one of the essential service providers in Singapore. He works in Singtel. So of course you can understand his job is so important for all of us, those who are using mobile and networking systems. Singtel and another kind of systems have been helping us during this COVID time to connect with each other. But because of all these activities, the job load had increased significantly, and a lot of a stressful situation has appeared to him. So of course you can understand I'm talking about Chandanji. Can I invite Chandanji to share some of his thoughts, maybe just in 2, 3, 4 minutes, about his stressful situation and how Vihangam meditation had helped him to cope those stressful situation and become free from that. Chandanji, please.
Thank you so much, Subhash Ji. Jai Sadgurudev to everyone. As the topic of today, although it was moving, I was relating it to myself because recently I have been experiencing so many things, and I was so connected to this topic today. I felt like Subhash Ji is talking about me only. So, as Subhash Ji said, recently in last few months, I had gone through a lot of workload and work pressure actually. So in this period of time, in last 2-3 months, because year end was there in month of March, and then a new financial year was starting in the month of April, and there were a lot of reconciliation, lot of work related things which we had to do, and the job required me to focus and help not only me as well as other team members as well as other business department units. So it was quite pressurized or pressure situation for me. I have to carry out my daily work as well as I had to help and trace all other things as well. So in that period of time, what I did, even I was feeling that 24 hours is not enough for me actually. So what I started doing it, practicing Vihangam meditation was always a first priority for me, morning and evening, both the sessions. But apart from that, what I started doing, I started reading Sankat Mochan, I started reading Swarved couplets every day. I was knowing that I have less time, but what I thought that no, whatever comes, I'll not leave reading Swarved, I'll not leave doing meditation at all. There was 2-3 instances where the morning session I was sitting in the office, 6 a.m. you can believe. 6 a.m. I was sitting in the office and still my morning session was connected on my mobile phone. I was connected, although maybe I was doing something else, but I had decided that whatever comes, I'll not leave it. I'll listen at least. Similarly, sometimes in the evening session as well, I'm sitting in the office, I'm doing my work, I'm doing something which I had to complete on that same day, and I cannot practice the meditation, but I have connected the session, I have connected the Zoom on my mobile, and I have plugged in my earphones and I'm listening. So why these things I never left? Because it gives me a positive energy actually. It gives me way to move forward. It gives me to make myself feel comfortable, feel relaxed actually. One day I was talking to one of my colleagues when she was having a very severe headache. And what I told that you sit with me and just do this Brahmari Pranayam, and you will not believe that after doing 2 weeks of Brahmari Pranayam, which the slides which we practice every day, the same slide I had taken screenshot and I had sent to her that these are the steps you can just follow. And after 2 weeks of doing Brahmari Pranayam, she was so comfortable. She told me that she was having this headache problem from so many days. And after doing just for 2 weeks, she was feeling more comfortable. She was not having such kind of headache problem. So even for me as well, I have realized so many times, and others also might have felt. So that's why when we get something for free, when we get something which is acting as a healing for us, which is acting as giving a positive energy for us. So that's why I believe that any kind of stressful situation, if we practice Vihangam meditation, it will give us more positive energy. It will give us more positive way to move forward. Thank you so much, Subhaji.
Thank you very much, Chandanji, for sharing your thoughts and well within the time. And can I invite one of another practitioner who probably everyone knows, Sri Podarji from Singapore itself, to share some of his thoughts, especially during recent COVID time, where he and his family had experienced some interesting things in the family. And I believe that it was a really stressful situation. But I'm sure Vihangam meditation and more faith towards Sadhguru and more doing few more things associated with Vihangam yoga, I'm sure he and his family himself had got benefited to be stress-free even during those difficult times. So can I invite Podarji to share few incidences, whichever he wants to share? I know there are many, but still in 2-3 minutes, please, Podarji.
Jai Shri Sadgurudev. This COVID situation, especially in the last week of April, and my sister's son was admitted because of the COVID. He has and very advanced stage, and then we pray Sadguru and started doing the meditation, but we started more and more survey the path, and we lighted the lamp that he has to recover, and we started the reading of Shankat Mochan and the Corona mantra. Myself, my wife, continuously few hours, and it helps a lot. And within a week time, from he has recovered and discharged from the hospital. And nicely, Subhash Ji, you presented very well. We are very proud of you. You have how to manage the stress, analyze, aware first, analyze, then apply for the effort to control the stress, Definitely meditation helps a lot. It helps permanently, because when we do the meditation, our inside journey starts. Because in the Sadguru Bhagwan, in the Swarved written, Bahar Bahar Dhoondte Antar ki Sudhinai, Bahar Bahar Dhoondte Andar ki Sudhinai, Jab tak Sadguru mile nahi, Bhatko Jag mein mai. We are fortunate that we have got the human life, and we have got the Sadguru, and who has teach us, which Subhaji has presented, the 5 stages of meditation, because this is the personal experience of Sadguru Bhagwan, because we have got the human lives, दुर्लभ नर यह देह भाग्यवान नर पाए देव सदा फल हरि कृपा तब अमरापुर जाए. Because our main aim of our life is to get the free from bondage of birth and rebirth. So this is the Vihangam meditation. This we have to do, we should do daily basis, 10 minutes morning and evening. Definitely it will be benefiting to all. And with that, I just conclude. Jai Sri Sadgurudev Bhagwan Ki Jai. Over to Subhash Ji.
Thank you very much, Pudaji, for sharing your thoughts. And really, there has been many examples related with many of us, how to take care ourselves, how to take care of family, how to take care of our friends during a stressful situation. And in fact, what I believe is stress is not just linked to me, not just linked to individual. Stress is related with the society. Stress is related with the family members also, right? So even if I have to help someone, to de-stress someone, or to help that person to overcome those stressful situations, I need to be stress free. Then only I can help someone else, isn't it? If somebody is stressed in my family, and because of that stress I also become stressed, then how would I help someone? How would I try to come out from that? So for a similar sayings is there, when the fire is there, at that time if I'm going to dig the well to find the water, that doesn't make sense, right? We should have the arrangement of water or any other kind of thing to overcome that fire. So that's how the meditation helps us. It's a prevention. As I mentioned, it's a prevention. Cure is one thing, but it's a prevention even to start anything else. So do meditate and let us know if you need any kind of help, any one of you. We are ready and we are committed to help the society, to the individuals also, for the upliftment of everyone and have a stress-free life. Join our stress-free zone. With this, I'd like to take your permission to close this particular session. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining this session, be it on Zoom or even on Facebook or anywhere else. Have a nice time ahead. Enjoy time with your family. Remain and be stressful and have a good time. Jai Sadgurudev to everyone.